Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Next in Time podcast. I'm your host, Esti Tangarella, and today's guest is going to be Hui Huang. She's the founder of SparkOne. She founded SparkOne in 2018 and is on a mission to empower individuals, groups, and firms to adapt, to learn, and to dream and build the future. It is what I call a collaborative tool and is looking to make that impact in the future in the world of mobile-first collaboration. So it's like looking to challenge the status quo, reimagine everything, and like in terms of how social collaboration and also how business can be run together. So Hui, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, Esti. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, hope you're having a great day today. I heard the weather in Phoenix, especially where you live, is like what, 100 plus degrees?
Oh, absolutely. This is just like I call that a simulation on Mars because I literally like came here like for probably like 15 years ago, and I was like, wait a second, are we really on Mars and living on Mars? So I think I
Right.
have a better experience than others if we really migrate to Mars in the future.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like when you come to whenever you go to Arizona, you're just trying to get the hang of that that arid weather, that dry, hot, arid weather that you don't really expect in other parts of the country. So that's the
Absolutely. I think this extreme weather, also the living style here. I mean, the longer you live here, you can definitely appreciate nature.
yeah,
You see those desert, natures, how they survive. And actually, we're like growing more greens here. So I see the economics boom over here as well. And then within 2 hours, you can actually go to very cool forests. And then during the winter, my family actually love to like to have a ski, which is also like 2 hours trip,
uh,
6 hour trip to, California. So it's actually not bad. And I will
yeah.
highly recommend other people to come over here and then say hello.
Just remember, if it weren't for air conditioning, Arizona wouldn't have been the state it is today.
Yeah, yes, we appreciate it, all of the, electronics, inventions here.
All right, cool. So let me get started with let's get to know more about you, Hui. So I saw on your profile that you're originally from China, but then you moved here like early in the early 2000s.
Mhm.
So like tell me more about your background. Like what made you like decide to leave China and come to the US?
Oh, wow, that was really long time ago, but love to share. Um, I I graduated from a computer science bachelor in China. So basically, I pick up my major, right? Like when you graduate from high school, and then you start to like select the major, which one, right? At that time, you just saw there's some interesting thing coming called PC, right? Like personal computer. Um, so I actually developed a very early interest to this personal computer, like since when I was like the first year of the high school. It is quite rare because in most of the schools at that time, you don't have the luxury, right, to develop the actual curriculum. Um, and then the reason I have kind of get the interest is actually, before the high school, when I was in the middle school, if you don't mind, I go to that rabbit hole a little bit. Okay.
Okay, no worries.
uh, I, I was in the music honors class, and then, I've been like playing the piano since when I was little. Because, but, I kind of a dream about to become a pianist or music teacher, right? Because I was just like, hey, I gotta conquer that masterpiece. I'm gonna wow the audience. Because it's
Did
so like dedication of the practice, to make that happen.
Right.
Um,
Did you have like a favorite artist you want to emulate, like Mozart or Beethoven
oh
or
yeah,
anyone?
I think that all of them, but the piano is just the beginning, right? Because
Yeah.
the deeper part is really I appreciated how music actually has this sophistication I call, which is it has the skills part, it has this storytelling part. It only has the 5 lines, right? You have 5 lines and you have notes, and
Right.
it's up to you to kind of compose on that. I feel really fascinating about there's some kinds of a beauty in this music theory. I mean, also on the the productions of the final results, right?
Right.
So anyway, that was like deeply part of me when I was young, and so I told my mom I want to do that, and my mom said that, are you serious? You probably, we cannot afford you to buy the piano. And then even like you will become very successful. Probably the job salary, you know, it's just like not bright career, right? Probably this doesn't make any big deal for like Western kids.
I mean, like a lot of people here especially in the Chinese, like a lot of families here in the US, especially if Chinese heritage, they definitely like want their kids to pursue music.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be
that
like
is
fully.
Not actually not my mom and my dad. Both my mom and dad have elementary kinds of a degree.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about that earlier, right?
Yeah.
They don't. My dad is a car mechanic, and my mom is actually pretty cool. I like her a lot. She's actually the ping pong champion in her like small town. Okay.
Wait, really? I played ping pong myself.
Oh, really? We should like have a competition sometime, you know, have fun. But anyway, both of them have kind of like this individual player, right?
Yeah.
Like my car likes to fix the stuff. My mom likes to join all kinds of tournaments, you know, just like kind of get exercise. Can you imagine that? I was a choir kid, but I love music. So I found that that is my outlet. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, because of this, financial limitation or whatever that reason, I have to say goodbye to that dream. Okay. So it really a meltdown for me because can you imagine that the first salary when I get hired in the US and then the first paycheck when I got it, and what is the first things I bought?
Like you bought music.
I bought piano, right? So I pursued my like boyfriend at the time. I say, you know what? I'm gonna buy a piano this time, but using my money because it's such a dream. Like
it's a cherished moment for you that you were able to buy that.
Absolutely.
Like, that piano.
Yes, I want to own that, right?
Right.
Anyway, but back to the story there is, after, say goodbye to that dream, I always feel like there's something missing in me until that PC, that the personal computer or something in front of me. And I got super curious about what exactly that stuff. And then looking back, I realized that there is something in common. That is, it also has something called keyboard.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So that was the bizarre reason I fall in love about programming, because from my brain to my hands, and I can code, and then my code will tells me you suck because it didn't work, right? So such a quick feedback loop, and then also the desire to try to create something that is I consider as a beautiful piece. I mean, probably most programmers or developers may not think about that way, but when I express my logic in the components, writing the codes, I feel like there's a beauty inside of that. So that's probably the women engineers. I encourage women engineers to find the creativity in expressing logic, reasoning, and how things should work. So that's fantastic toy for me,
Yeah. So and throughout your career so far, you've been working in the technology space, like especially on the program, like what you call architectural side of things, or like systems engineering,
developers, and then move on to the system architecture, and then team lead, right? Those kinds of the different decisions for the whole software development. Like,
are you still in the field right now, or are you still?
Absolutely. I also like find out some time to like develop some pet project. Kind of refreshing, what technology that really attract me. Although I may like build some a big thing, because I do want to partner with other developers. So try to maximize my time, but at the end of the day, I love to hang out with developers, designers.
Right.
And then, of course, I'm on my journey about my entrepreneurship. So now I have to develop a new kinds of a relationship or networking, which is the people who are good at it. That is to building a business. Right.
Yeah. It's because what you're trying to do is just build an overall business where you can just like what do you call outsource the work to other people. Is that right? Or is it something completely different? Or
I think you're talking about SparkLand, right? The product?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Just in general?
In general, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I always asking what the skills I already built with the expertise I already have. You know,
Yeah.
I deal with a lot of information systems. So basically, I have a special kinds of architectural view or system thinking that is to looking at a complex systems. So
Right.
I love anything that is complex, that is dynamic, that is unknown, that is not all the puzzles are figured out and they're in a silo modes. Whether that was in the supply chain logistic industry, which is kind of how I developed my interest in that kind of a complex, industry, or maybe I helped the like one time, healthcare industry, right? They have the similar kind of a multi-partners or multi-parties, ecosystems. And then they have challenges about trying to make sense out of the, information system. And then not just achieve automation, but also achieve some kinds of, I call that rapid decision-making through the intelligence. So those are things always like fascinate me is how we can stitch the right information in the right pipelines and actually deliver something that is useful to the right decision makers, whether that is the field level, whether that is the strategic level, and then different people can harmony collaborate together, right? So this is like again back to the music. I'm trying to figure out the music.
Everything is being everything is being interlinked together. It's like, okay, you started from music, then you found a computer, you want to do keyboards, now you want to
play with that.
Play with everything. I think that's why
I really want to play with that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
this exploration, like a kid, or serious play, whatever people want to call it, is always part of me. So that's why I always asking myself, what are the new angles I can look at today? What are the dots I can connect, right? What are the assumptions I can shake it?
Right.
How do I go back to the first principles? Maybe I can reimagine a whole new world. So those are typical, innovative thinking mental models. People can play with that. And then whether it's a small scale, like a problem domains you are facing, or whether you like zoom out a little bit and look at the whole kinds of the macro level, we all like participating in this kind of a collective minds, even when we not realize that. But that's what I see.
So that's some very substantive information that could be highly beneficial to people out there who are trying to make a future of themselves or trying to create a new future of the world in general. But I see. But let's segue into SparkOne, because I think because that's the reason why we wanted to have this podcast together, was to talk about your vision of what you're trying to do in terms of building that collaboration space. Is that right? About SparkOne? Just tell us more about how you founded SparkOne and what it's all about.
Absolutely. So let me give you the one sentence headline so that we can all kind of grasp it, right? Basically, SparkLand helps anyone to capture Spark moments, meet Spark friends, and develop Spark projects together.
So I was just going to say SparkLand, or it's like SparkOne. I was just trying to figure out which one's which.
Yeah, SparkLand. And then the community name is called SparkOne.
Okay.
The product name or platform is called SparkLand because we all want to have our own space, right?
Right.
So that is the product name we're coming up with. So let me share a little bit like the journey. How does this, really hit Hui, and then why Hui actually passionate about it, right? Is that what's your question?
Yeah. Okay. I just want to know what made you decide to start this, like out of all.
Yeah. Okay. So the SparkOne come up with a very simple thought, or I consider it a single thought, right? Is I appreciate everyone has Spark moments. So they're like there's a fire-like emotion, right? Like a flash moments, and then you are the one kind of the first experience in your brain, and then you just like hype about it. Let's just say that way, okay? And then you start to ask yourself, right? Like, and then you try to express it. Maybe you express it by like come up with a question, like I call it question style, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes you come up with imagine style. Sometimes you like argue with the people, like it's argument style, right? Or maybe sometimes you have this meme style.
So it's like you're trying to designate a certain community for a certain style, right? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, let's slow down a little bit. Okay. I'm trying to give you the breadth and then later on you will connect the dots. Okay.
Yeah, because
because I have to go very deep rabbit hole. Because can you imagine that? Why I can consider myself as a Spark researcher, right? I really like study why people have Sparks. Just think about that way. Okay. So because I have this empathy, let's call that, I have an empathy for people who have Spark moments. Okay. Yeah. And then second one is I study, a quote unquote study, is to look at how different people have different styles of the Sparks. Okay. Yeah. And then I go deep a little bit. I say, wait a second, where they typically come up with that special moments, right? Is that when you're taking shower? Or is that when you're having a coffee shop? Or when you have like a frustration talk with your boss, right? And you come back, say, hey, I'm going to write something out, right? So there's a different, like maybe the environment setting that could influence, right? People having more Sparks, okay? Right. But at the end of the day,
could you? I was trying to understand, like, what does it mean by spark?
Okay, spark. Just think about, you have to understand the moment first.
Yeah.
Right. So that means you have a moment, and then you have to express your moment into something else, right? Right. And then you call that process called spark process, whatever. Okay. So I kind of slowly walk you through. You have to say there's a subject called human. And the subject human in certain kind of environment, for whatever that reason, context, we have no idea, but suddenly he has the brain kind of a lightning moment, right? And it's only happening in him or her. Right. And now he's going to say, hey, how do I capture that moment? Right? So when we talk about capture that moment, and we said that, and then you may say that, why I need to capture the moment? So I have to describe it. How does moment differentiate the moment on Instagram? How does the moment differentiate on LinkedIn or Twitter, right? Because we can capture all the moments. So you can think about is a thought that is lead to a curiosity, spark the curiosity. It's a thought that leads to your reflection. It's a thought leads to what can be possible. Okay. So we consider it as a spark moments. And then you can think about it as a moment that is a fewer something else, but it's pre-idea. Does that make sense? If we're really like giving the semantics about what is this, I would say it's not the idea. I'm sorry. It's just the pre-idea. It's a trigger. It's whatever that moment. Just name it as a moment.
So this is more like, okay, when you get an idea that you're trying to pursue something like this idea that comes about, let's say I want to create a menu item or something like that.
You just observe something, right? For example, you could observe something. You could like say, hey, when I sitting in my computer, suddenly my thoughts I call this, deep frustration.
Right.
You may have some deep frustration because certain tools like really not working, or maybe whatever the reason, right? And then suddenly you say that, what if I can do this, right? And then we'll say, oh, I saw somebody like post something on Twitter, interesting. What if I can do that? Or, oh, maybe I should go a little bit rabbit hole research about it. Does that make sense? So it's something that could be curious. It's something that could be reflective. Yeah. It's something can be creative, but it's something we cannot pin this as an idea. It's something can lead to an idea, right?
Right.
That's the spark moment. Okay. It took me almost 4 years trying to describe this to everyone.
Because you're trying to make this very different compared to, let's say, a different collaborative platform in a way, right? So because you've seen a lot of collaborative platforms that are very conventional, or very
exactly. They call that notes, right? They call that posts. They call whatever things.
So you're just trying to redefine like a brand, redefining I won't say the brand, but let's just say the name of what thoughts and ideas you have, calling it spark in a way, right?
No, I want to help people recognize that first, right?
Yeah, it's like, it's like when you get your eureka moment of an idea, then it just
exactly. That's another word to say that, eureka moment. Yes. Yeah. So the here is it may not have a brand yet, right? Because brand is happening in a market, whatever. But I just wanted to just very genuine and empathy on something I discovered called spark moments.
Yeah.
And whether and I have to like influence you to believe in that there's a moment like that. Right? Because you may not name it yet. But I'm the one say I'm gonna label this as a spark moment. And then you will say, oh, maybe I should pay attention to that moment next time. and then you start to develop the spark habit.
Okay, so when let's just say you had an idea and you need someone to discuss with. This is where the platform is all about bringing all these people in together. And let's say if they have an idea of, I want to do this, or I want to, let's say, drive to New York, then you just find that community of people say, hey, can we go to New York or something? Was that what you're trying to?
Right. I mean, that was like my 4 years ago, this kind of a utopia, right? Highway. Because what you describe it was my 4 years, like say, imagine, that can like, there's like a routes can be automatically figured out. We just need to figure out the right person on the bus and then we go, right?
Right.
But after 4 years and now I would consider this is a utopia, right? But so what exactly we help people to kind of still catalyze it, or moving into the direction so that people will start to, meet their spark friends, right? Because when you describe it, sounds like very like optimal way. But in reality, we as a founders, we always know that it's just a rough journey and it's tough journey. And sometimes we have to laugh at our sparks sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, let me talk about the second thing, that is how we have some ideas, that is meet spark friends.
Right.
Okay. So again, all of the things are based on my personal experience, and I keep shaping the vision. Now we talk about vision, right?
Yeah, because this is the
I kind
premise.
of know the North Star, right? The mission. Okay. When we say mission, vision, here's the things is for visionary founders, that is you absolutely kind of paint out something called impossible mission. Let's just say that way. It's impossible, right? So when something that is impossible, and then you have to kind of, do all kinds of dances to make that impossible happen, because otherwise how other people will believe that, right? So that means, let me tell you my current thoughts about how we make spark friends.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. What would you say that,
Okay.
How'd you define it? That's what my question would be.
Exactly. How we define it, right? Right. So based on some my personal experience, I've been joining some, different communities, and I observe, I contribute. And at the end of the day, I realized that there is something called trust, right? There's something called give. Okay. So that means in order to find the right people to become your spark friends, and then we have to define that, what the spark friends look like, what they do. Because we're using very general term called friends, right? Did you get the feedback from your family friends? Of course. And then are they the ones supporting you when you are like having like, difficulty time? Of course. Do you consider them as a spark friends? Let's have some debates, okay? So here's what I have experiment, and then potentially we will make that product journey that happens on the SparkLand. Then hopefully we will generate some kinds of a true connection.
Yeah, right? What you're trying to do is redefine the connection space using SparkLand.
Exactly.
And then just be able to now like the way, because you've seen there are a lot of platforms out there. Every platform that I've come across, it's always say, I want to foster community and want to do this. Correct. Or want to do that, but how are you setting yourself apart from those guys? Because there's like millions of products out there that really just focus on community and community building. Because you see like places like Slack, Clubhouse,
right. Exactly.
Like, what are you trying to do that's different from them?
So it comes to the main reason people come to the SparkLand, and how we serve each other, right? Yeah. So think about, you have a spark, you come to SparkLand. And then you may use the tool to develop your personal kinds of, like idea development, right? Yeah. You do your research, blah, blah, blah. And at a certain point, you realize that, it would be better to meet someone so I can at least share what I have, and then they give you some feedback, okay? So this has been considered like a feedback domain, right? And then we start to ask ourselves, and then you probably already heard some coach talk about, oh, don't ask the feedback from your mom because she will probably always like your idea, right? And then we end up having some trying to gain some validation, or like hopefully get some momentum, because we need to have this motivation going on, right? So I actually have gone through those journey, and I have fear Okay, I have fear. I met with people who give me like positive things, say, "Wait, this is awesome. We will like it." And I have to learn like some hard lesson, how to actually get feedback. Okay.
So what type of feedback have you been getting with the platform?
Okay, I can share that a little bit, but let me classify a little bit. There are 3 types of feedbacks I have found. That means every Sparker, I call every Sparker, may need that support. Okay, so think about this way: is imagine you are creating something that potentially you will meet your OG users. Let's just call that, right? Your alpha users, your beta users, or maybe your customer who are willing to buy. Okay. So the question is how do you find the one that someone is genuinely either act as a customers or they're true customers, right? Because you want to get feedback.
Right.
Okay?
You want to get that. You want to get that right. You want to
get the right feedback. Otherwise, waste both of time.
Yeah.
Right. So the question here is that possibility we can make the matchmaking or maybe suggest that? Here are the people, who are signing up or raise the hand, say, "Hey, I have used the similar product, but I could be your OG users," right?
Right.
So that means if we can provide certain kind of the product user journey, allows the people to easily sign up or like raise the hand. Like today, you saw that people may comment below on Twitter or maybe comment below on LinkedIn, right? Because why we comment? Because that's the only method we crowdsource comments.
I mean, that's the only way where people interact with one another is through the comment section.
Exactly. So imagine we can give a different product journey that is explicitly say, "Hey, I'm a Sparker. I'm looking for OG users who have experience in this, and I want to have a conversation." You could reward them, right? So you can say, "Hey, I want to find those potential users," and you could reward them. So that's one type of the feedback.
Yeah, how does that work? So let's say, for example, we both are Sparkers in this platform right now. And then let's say I meet you for the first time. Let's say I have an idea of, reinventing the computer, and then you'd say how does that feedback process work?
So we come up with this space we call hub, right? So we have 3 types of the hub. We call fly solo hub, which is you can do by your own. And then you have this collective hubs, which is one type called circle up hub. Okay. So basically what you do is actually you create your circle, right? You have to create your circle, get whatever the potential users join your circle.
Like you have to know your own people if you want to get them on the platform.
Yes, exactly. Because no matter what, you're gonna have to you have to kind of either figure out outside of the SparkLand, right, or figure out inside of the SparkLand. But the key things here is now you have a space. Now you have hey, I'm here. I'm doing this specific focus group. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm looking for. I'm showcase, right? I'm showcase. This is what I'm going. And you start to get people interest, and then you start to crowdsource, right?
Right.
So that is the one type of the way is you as an initiator, we call host. You can actually set up the circle, and then you can use the circle for that purpose, right? To engage with your users. And then, by the way, isn't that all the innovative companies have done that already? Like they are like having community, they have co-creation, and they invite their like beta users to like play with that, right? And then
I think I would say this is a interesting way of really just trying to bring your own community together, because there's like, if you ever seen how Clubhouse works, is you just try to invite people in and it just becomes massive, and then you just don't know how to control it. Is that like, do you find a way where you try to control your group, the group that you try to set up on your platform?
Now you're talking about more founders strategy, user adoption strategy.
I mean, we can always we
can save that topic later. Okay.
Yeah.
So assuming you trust me, this is a one feature or place you can do that.
Yeah, that's the one thing I like to do with a lot of founders is like gauge them deeper, like gauge more deeper into the product.
Right, exactly.
But
so now I tell you the one type of the group, right, for feedback.
Right.
And then there's another type of group for feedback, which is really the expert review.
Yeah.
So that means often you meet with someone may be a fake guru, or maybe like they never done that, right? because I have to really go to the people like who are the founders before and really like kind of pick their brains to say, hey, I have some tough decisions. How do you make that tough decisions, right?
Yeah.
So you can imagine that this is different kinds of the circles, right?
Yeah.
So that means we give you the tools and you create your circles in whatever that dimension you want to create it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the goal here is you own your audience. We are not own your audience. You own your community. You own your audience. But we enable you. There's a space you can kind of interact each other, and then using our product feature to simplify kinds of engagement, right? Because right now you and me are on different like a public social media. There's so like so many noises, right? Like you have to like sort through. And then hopefully I found some certain kinds of people I follow. But again, I always want to develop deep relationship with them, right? But they're not open the gate for us because there's too many people like following them, right? But imagine there will be some kind of emerging founders, aspiring founders at their very early stage. And you said that, hey, I'm your OG fans, whatever, right? You want to learn from them.
You can just like build your initial fan base of your product. Like, why say, hey, this is my product. Do you want to come and do you want to like this product itself? Let us know what you think and everything. I think I now get what you're trying to say with how you
can you imagine that everyone can be a creator in the future? That is the world's dynamics are changing right now.
Yeah, right? The world is definitely changing. I mean, now in the old days, it was like I think in 2 generations ago, it was just everyone work a very mechanical job. But now as people, there's more and more creatives coming out of the woodwork. And then there is a future where there is going to be more creative jobs than there are actual real manual labor jobs, primarily because AI could be taking over your jobs.
They can take over the jobs, exactly.
Yeah,
and what do you do?
Yeah,
right.
It could be. I mean, I just don't want to generalize. I just don't want to.
This is deep thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been in the data domain, whatever that information for like computer science for 20 years. I saw this, massive, data, manipulation going on, right?
Yeah.
And I started asking myself, should I become a builder, make that, empire even stronger? Or should I, figure out the other side, help all of the creators succeed, right?
Yeah.
So actually the SparkOne name come from John Williams, Star Wars track, this orchestra piece called The Spark. So if you go to the YouTube, search The Spark, and then hear that, it has like connect the dots, right? Like, what influenced me so hard is I asked myself, what kinds of the skills I want to develop for myself in the future.
Yeah.
I definitely want to shift to go develop myself is creativity.
All right,
so,
cool.
Yeah, if that's the case, I would teach my kids to do that. I will inspire others to do that. I will figure out the tools to allow those creators thrive. And I don't know how make it thrive, right? Even I cannot survive at this moment, but we figure out all together. So that's kind of the future I see where we're getting into, but not just me, other people are talking about creator economy for a very long time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I see in a way in terms of the future. But I think we're almost out of time in terms of how much we can go. We can talk for hours and hours, but we have to set this podcast to about 30 minutes or 30
no problem
max.
But if you think that the current content's already good enough for your cut, we can stop here.
Yeah, but so just want to ask one final piece of advice that you want to give to founders and other visionaries of the future.
Right. So I summarize the founder journey as rough, tough, and laugh. So you have to anticipate some rough training because the road is rough, and you have to make tough decisions. And then at the end of the day, you have to laugh at yourself if you fail. Okay, like even like because the emotion, this roller coaster. Like one day you say that, hey, I'm that, but the second day you say I'm still 1%. right? So those are things are not very many people love to do that. But if you are a highly motivated individuals, and then you truly ask yourself, right? What is my life meaning? I mean, that's kinds of the things I ask myself. What? I mean, I already like 40-ish, so like half of my years or like lifespan already gone. So I started to ask myself is what makes my life meaningful? So if you start with that question, and then you start to say, hey, how much risks can I assess, and then still do that. And I'm very thankful for my family, especially my husband and my kids. But I just tell you one joke, okay? Joke. Like there's a one time, right? I was like doesn't have enough energy. So when I come to the family table, my energy was so low. I start to like nagging things, and then my 10 years old daughter Emily, she just said that one thing and just make me laugh. Okay, she said that, the SparkOne founder lacks of the spark now.
She's very good at the puns in a way.
Yes, exactly. So once she said that way, it just like kinds of ignite me. You say, no, I can prove myself, right? Even it is a joke. So the key things here is to always figure out how to survive. The surviving game is not fun at all. So I have to figure out how to make independent consulting in order to fund this. And this is a product I have put in a lot of my personal money and energy on that. It may fail. Here's the things I say to myself, right? I said that define this worthlessness, like worthlessness, right? Because everybody has is that worth or not worth?
Yeah.
So you have to come up with worthlessness and then the sacrificing risks. I literally changed my lifestyle, because of go on this journey. I gain more like white hairs now.
It takes it's all about just it's not about just simply how much. It's all about paying the price, but in the end you'll get something out of it. That's the whole purpose.
So you have to reconcile it, and then sometimes because of here's the thing, because of the unknown. So here's the three things I try to summarize for founder is learn how to deal with unknown. That means you would guarantee never know 100%, and if there's a 60% where you can outsource, trust someone to do other decision, did you want to do it or not? Or did you want to overthink or having doubts or make actions, right? Like those are choices for you. So you have to learn, how to cope with unknown. The second one is really to make tough decisions. Yeah. I cannot imagine that how many tough decisions I have, like fear, huge fear. That I have those nights I couldn't sleep sometimes, and then I have to really looking for help, or maybe like someone who have gone through that, gives you some information, advice, and I help you go through that, right? And still make tough decisions, right? And the third one is really to ask yourself, to be adaptable, because sometimes mission impossible. So the question is, you love your mission, we get it, but you have to be practical on the road.
Yeah.
Right? Like, where are you on the road? You have to how do you measure that? It's not about, so I basically gained a little bit like hard skin, whatever you want to call it.
It's basically you're putting your skin in the game, and yeah,
exactly. And then we all want to have a great return, but if never work out, are you still a happy person? I mean, my friend, here's my good friend, there's one really good friend, okay? He said that way and totally changed my mindset. He said that, Hui, think about this way. You are bigger than the startup. You just put that mindset to me, right? And once I start to think about it, I say, that's right. I'm bigger than the SparkLand. Even if I fail, I can do another project. What the heck, right? I'm still me, okay? So once you reconcile that, you start to detach a little bit about your idea, right? And then treat that as a really methodical way, or it's hard, but you still have a, personal, attachment on that. But hopefully you want that, succeed, and you can move on to a next exciting journey. So that's kind of what I tell myself and tell others.
All right, cool, Hui. Yeah, thank you again for giving a lot of information about what your background, your startup, and your vision. But yeah, I think we could have another podcast soon in about a couple of months or so, and then just say, hey, let's see how much progress you made or something like that. But yeah, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to come on next in time. And yeah, looking forward to seeing how your successful will pan out.
Yeah, thank you so much, ST, for inviting me. I hope everyone gonna love your podcast because this is really a great conversation, to invite the innovators to discuss.